welcome to G for G on YouTube. Today we're in Marvel Future Fight, taking a look at Luna Snow and the Black Panther event. So I just needed to start off this video with something that you guys probably don't necessarily need to watch. However, I need to conduct a little bit of a card clinic with some people whose opinions that I trust. So I need to pop right over to my cards, kind of highlight them and what I've got going on and what my stats look like so that I can show them, and I don't really want it in the middle of the video as I don't exactly want to make them wade through a whole bunch of crap just to see what's going on with my cards over here. So here are my card effects: 16% attack speed, 14 crit, about 25 to all attack, 9 to physical attack, 6 to energy. Cooldown duration is a low 13.9. And I've got some resist. I would like to get rid of the cold resist over there. But here's what's going on for my current card effects. And I know they're bad, which is why I'm conducting a card clinic. I have a Drax card with recovery rate, physical attack, crit, attack speed, poison resist, all defense. That doesn't seem super awful. Could be this is probably one of the cards that I think is going to need to go. My Guardians of the Galaxy card, which when these were coming out I was told, yeah, you definitely want to equip one of these as soon as you get it. Max HP, all attack, attack speed, crit damage, dodge, all defense. Decent stats in the attack speed. I've heard more about attack speed recently than in the past, when everything seemed to be mostly about cooldown reductions and attack. I have a Star-Lord card, which is giving me... Oh, ignore defense. That was another very big one. It was cooldown reduction and ignore defense that I kept hearing about. Ignore defense, crit rate, fire resist, cooldown duration, recovery rate, all attack. A Loki card, Loki 17, all attack, cooldown duration, which is definitely one of the reasons why he's there. Critical damage, cold resist, energy, defense, crit rate. A Nebula card, which gave ignore defense. That's why she's there. That's back when I was hearing that was super popular. Max HP, ignore defense. And then unfortunately cold resist again. Attack speed, all defense, energy attack. And in terms of high level available cards, going through my 5 and 6 stars over here, I don't think we need to see some of the weaker ones, but we'll start with the 5s and 6s. An Amazing Spider-Man 99, number 674. A Witch Hunter Angel, which I don't imagine that would be needed for anything really. A Nebula with hit points and ignore defense. Guardians of the Galaxy number 1. Secret Wars 2099. Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps number 2. And then we get into some of the better cards. Unbelievable Gwenpool number 1. Secret Wars 2099 number 1. I don't imagine that one would be particularly good. Groot number 5 with a proc of 5% when dodging, 20% increase to all defense. Marvel Zombies number 2 with a pretty decent cooldown duration. Uncanny Avengers number 10 with a 5% chance when attacking to buff physical attack. An Ultron card. A Loki number 2, energy attack, ignore defense, cooldown duration. I'm thinking maybe this one would be a direct replacement of the Loki that I have equipped. Probably. I'm going to kind of bank a little bit of money on that and probably get a resounding duh from the people who are going to audit my cards over here. So if anybody sees anything stand out, so kind of my unusual ones is this 1872, that Marvel Zombies, that Civil War, that Luke Cage. I have a Gwenpool over here. Most of these then are, you know, relatively standard. That's my current card collections. Nothing particularly fancy over there. I actually had somebody ask, my god, how do you get by with just a 30% cooldown reduction? I was like, I don't know. Luck. So, the Black Panther event. As of right now, we have 3 days and 6 hours, and I will have 200 by the end of doing them all today. I still have my Dimension Rifts and 3 World Boss Clears. The event shop will give you 300 tokens dedicated to Black Panther, giving you a 1-to-1 ratio of 300 bios for 300 tokens. We have Norn Stones, we have Energy, and we have Gold. Honestly, probably the shittiest store I think we've ever seen. Now, Black Panther bios are farmable. And I can point out now, some of the later ones do get tougher. If you are a lower character in this, some of the Black Panther missions will give you some issues, as they are, you know, they're a little higher up. And, you know, who knows exactly what we'll have planned when the Black Panther update comes out. We do know we're getting Killmonger and Shuri, but Black Panther has his modern costume. He has his Civil War costume, which is actually ready for an upgrade for me. However, I just ironically happened to update, not Lady Loki, but the newer Loki costume the other night, which is why my upgrade kits are now super low. I was trying to get Loki up to further the Ragnarok mission over there with the rewards. So, all attack, all defense is up, and you get a increased bleed effect if you have this uniform equipped. I don't really know if we're gonna see a new one for when the movie comes out. My guess is possibly, and at least from some of the artwork I've seen, Killmonger looks very similar to Black Panther. They have the two going head to head in some art that I've seen, and it's like, wow, which one is actually Black Panther? But that's just simply from my noobish perspective. Black Panther certainly was a lot of fun in Marvel Avengers Alliance, and that later suit that got added, I think might have been called Urban Assault, the more tech one. That had some fun stuff to it, but Black Panther really got better with his ISOs. I mean, he was a good bleeder, and I think it was a good early to mid-range character, but then when you started pumping him full of his ISOs, and you had that period where those vibranium daggers were doing a lot of work for him, he seemed to work out pretty well. So, if you click here, I mean, you have him in 8-1, 13-1, 3, and 7. It's these 13s that could be a little bit tougher if you are a newer player. However, if you are a more advanced player, you probably have had these sewn up. And as you can see at this point, I actually only 2-starred 13-7. But I could get 20 a day simply by going over here and telling it to clear. Plus, we're getting physical attack out of that one. And over here, we're getting hit points, which isn't that good. Recovery rate, I mean, those are like mid-tier Urus, but physical attack, that's some good stuff. So, you don't necessarily have to go for the best thing in the store. I mean, that's usually what happens with an event shop, is everybody's like, oh, I need to save up every single token for the best thing and get it at the last day when I have all my stuff. This time around, maybe that's not what you want to go for, because, you know, you can click that, and you can click that, and then there you go. I mean, you're pulling in Norn Stones, you're pulling in, you know, Unrefined Uru, you're pulling in physical attack, which is great. You're pulling in his bios. I mean, yeah, it uses a decent amount of energy, but I don't know. I don't necessarily know that going the top tier reward is necessarily the way to go on this. Now, let's be honest though. If you are running up a native T2 or a Black Order or something, 300 bios for relative free is nothing to shake a stick at. And the rest of the store is kind of crap. I mean, you could be spending tokens along the way and getting some energy and everything, but right now my energy's been climbing back up again and is in the 6,000 range, and I'm still doing a considerable amount per day. I'm definitely doing daily tasks. I'm doing event tasks. I'm farming some of the X-Men mission for rank up materials and everything, so yeah. You could just go the Black Panther and, you know, maybe siphon his stuff off to a native T2, like Warlock or something like that. And I would almost wager a guess that a lot of people, especially at the more advanced levels, probably have a T2 Black Panther already. I'm not saying he's super popular or part of any metas or anything like that, but, you know, people have probably worked on him. So let's take a look at Luna Snow over here. She is just about there. I mean, look at that. She's like 19 and a quarter, and she got so close to being ready to try tier 2. Now, granted, once I get her maxed out at all 20s over here, I still have another 150 to earn before I tier 2 her, or, you know, I could use a ticket. But right now, in terms of tickets, I don't really have the best of tickets right now. I have a Mega. And she's already way too far along to Mega at this point, so better to hold off. So yeah, I mean, she's certainly ready to go, and I've heard good things about her at the power level. I've gotten really addicted to Quicksilver for my speed days. I mean, the Kid Kaiju time was fun, but on a lot of Android devices, when you're dealing with Kid Kaiju, you're dealing with some serious lag. So, not that Quicksilver's any better. You chain those two tornado moves together, and you could just put some tablets down and wait for it to recover about 10 minutes later. But, you know, I've heard that she has a very strong presence in the speed meta. And what's odd is that she is an energy attacker in speed. You know, which is usually an area that is, of course, mostly dedicated to physical attacks. I managed to roll a POA for her, but my god, did that take a long time to get. I was getting a lot of drastic density and Blessing of Asgards, some Stark backings. I mean, it took a lot of rerolls to get a POA going for her. I right now have a cold damage obelisk, but I've also been told that she can definitely make some good use of the CTPs. So, in ordering it of rank, over here on spares, I have a CTP of Transcendence, and I have a spare CTP of Destruction. And I believe that Cable and Quicksilver are using some of my other ones right now. Oh yeah, that's right. I'm still got it by combat, so let's do it by all. So, Quicksilver, he's got my CTP of energy, and I do believe Cable's got a pretty good one too, CTP of energy. So let us take a look at Luna's abilities. Go into the sim for her. Looking for that shortcut to where you can test out the skills. So X23, she's fairly stacked, but isn't really a T2 priority right now. Uh, America Chavez, I kind of farm her missions for dailies. So she's actually getting close to a tier 2. But I don't exactly know she'd be fully worth it. My Mysterio is very close to a tier 2. Because I tend to farm his mission for when I have to do specials. For daily tasks and everything like that. And I do know that he's worth it. Some people have used him pretty well. I got to dick around with her a little bit during her missions where you're forced to use her, and she was well leveled ahead of like the middle groups of missions over there. And I must say, I mean, I'm pretty impressed. I kind of like the drill move. And that snowflake one is pretty cool, but it's this one right here. It's that like almost time dilating drill move that I really like. And now granted, when you do it on the simulator, abilities do seem to cool considerably quicker, but I mean, she's putting out 2 debuffs over there. She has this, which is kind of like a time freeze. And, I mean, she's got 3 debuffs going out on people. One of them's got a long 4 or 5 seconds. So she is definitely a lot of fun. However, she, you know, being an original character, she doesn't have quite the best team-ups out there. But, as you can see why a Cold Obelisk is really good for her. Everything she does is chill. She freezes enemies for 4 seconds. She does chill damage, so there's a, you know, basically it's like a bleed, except for its cold energy. She has a passive of when Dancing Sensation is used, resets cooldown for the skill, Ardent Performance. When Ardent Performance is used, reset the cooldown for Dark and Light. So there is a, you know, there is a clear pattern over here, which I think is really ingenious for a character. We don't see characters orchestrated like this. It's almost like a paint by numbers, but in a fun way. We have Curtain Call, which is Entice, kind of like Enchantress, and a Recovery, which is also pretty good. Snowflower, apply to enemies freeze, and another Recovery, and a 100% chance for immunity to all damage. And then all allies get speeds go up, and they have a chance to become immune to cold damage. And then at tier 2, her passive is skill damage goes up, bonus damage goes up, and then she can become immune to fire, and she increases her cold damage. It's best to combo Dancing Sensation with another skill as soon as the kicking animation ends, since the passive effect can be used more effectively. Also, Curtain Call's Entice debuff will work on world bosses and even on targets. So, I mean, she's going to be another Enchantress. Enchantress, when she first dropped, like, I hit her with a Mega T2. Had I paid a little bit more attention to Luna when she first dropped, I might have, but I had people in some of my groups talking me out of it, saying, you know, just get her up the normal way. You could use tickets on her and everything, and then you could use the bio sub to top her off. You could get the bios from, you know, doing her mission, her special mission and everything like that. I almost think I would have liked to have had her in place right now and actually be enjoying what she is capable of doing. But then again, I'm not in a particular hurry. She's not going to fill a slot for me. It's like, oh my god, that slot is so weak for me. I absolutely need her there. Which would be something like my Universals. My Universal Hero. My Universal Villain's okay, but my Universal Hero not having a good Odin has always been kind of shit. But recently Quasar has been getting it done for me. I got some good advice on Quasar, and I must say I'm enjoying it. Because prior to that, it was Miss Marvel. And while she generally lives, obviously her DPS is kind of lacking. So the reason why I was updating Loki, of course, was the cinematic battle. Because there is one mission over here. Executioner's Axe, I believe it is. Where I now will be able to get this reward. So I'm getting closer to the legendary one. And I'm not missing too much. The Hulk one I am missing because I have not jacked his uniform up. Because I never use Hulk for anything. I know a lot of people talk about him from time to time. And I haven't heard as much about the CTP of refinement as compared to the others. But, Bifrost was maxed out. Day of the Dead was maxed out. And that one was easy. When this uniform dropped, I jacked that uniform up super quick. Which is what gave me the Loki card that we were talking about earlier. And I do believe this is where we get the one, yeah. I used a mega uniform ticket on Hela the moment that I could, which turned out to be a good thing. You get a good CTP, and I liked Hela anyway. It's funny, when this all got released, everybody was like, oh wow, this uniform, Hela this, and oh hey, Loki's getting even better compared to Lady Loki or Floki. I was like, people, I hate to be hipster Hela over here, but I've been using a tier 2 Hela stock costume for a long time, and I've really liked her. I kind of found her as almost like a weird Loki Clea hybrid. She doesn't put out quite the DPS that Clea does, but she's not as much of a glass cannon as Clea was, so yeah, I mean, Clea is just super tight on her cooldowns. I mean, they're up so frequently, which plays with your head a little bit when you've gotten used to other characters so much. She just plays with your muscle memory because everything's just coming up super quick for her, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, I got a shield again, I gotta get out of here. So for my native T2s that I'm working on, I kind of want a little bit of direction on where I want to go next. Warlock is up there a little bit. Phoenix is up there a little bit. Thanos kind of sort of up there. And then everybody else over here is flat. My APOC is flat. Odin, Dormammu, Scarlet Witch. I'm really wondering what I should focus on next. I know Warlock is really good in timeline battle. I think Jean Grey is just good everywhere. I think Thanos is still decent, and I've heard that Apocalypse has taken over Combat Villain Day compared to Carnage. So if anybody's got any ideas of what native T2s over here I should start working on, based on what you're seeing is like crap from me, let me know. But here are my current T2s. Quasar was semi-new, and she's taken over some Universal Day stuff. Pretty standard T2s over here. Vulture was somewhat new. I don't get to use him for a lot of stuff, but he got in range. I figured, why not? Sharog, of course, she's just so much fun. She's definitely one of my favorite characters to use when I can. I wish she had an ABX day, because she just murders shit. I mean, Cable murders shit faster than Sharog, but still Sharog is a lot of fun. Valkyrie, Anti-Venom, Titania, but not her husband, and of course, the X-Men and everything. Agent Venom, Blackbuster, Iron Fist, and then more stuff up here. So that is about it for me, guys. That's currently where I am now. Wanted to do this video for a few reasons. I needed to do a card clinic, and I figure kill several birds with one stone. Wanted to talk about the Black Panther events. And as you can see here, I mean, they haven't been rotating. It's been the same thing since... It's been released. Story specials, dailies, dimension rifts, world bosses. As a matter of fact, I think I'll take a look at what today's world boss is. So the Luna event is gone, and we're just left with the Crystal one. Fortunately, my Luna was able to get everything I needed in that event. Let's see what today's bonus boss is. Thanos. Okay, that'll be fun. And, kudos to me, I got my first World Boss Ultimate a few days ago when I beat Supergiant. I haven't tried in a long time. Like, I sort of had tried Proxima way back when. I was like, okay, I gotta do ignore dodge stuff. And I just wasn't able to get it done. So I was like, I probably don't have the roster for it, and I just stopped. However, I happened to see a post the other day in one of my groups where somebody's like, how do I beat Shuggy? And everybody's like, well, read what she's weak to. She's weak to summons. And they kind of laid out a Loki plan. And yeah, I'll be damned if I didn't rather easily get Shuggy out of there using Loki. Now, I was doing it on an emulator at the time, so I was using the mouse. Doing level 2 on an emulator with just mouse controls and no binds was not working out well. I came like super close. If I had about 5 more seconds, I would have won. I meant to do it on my tablet later that night, but I kind of fell asleep. But I think I would have gotten her on level 2 under manual control. Thanos Infinity, I don't think I've tried. But maybe. Let's see what his write-up is. It's probably like, don't even bother. That's a nice reward, though. It doesn't even tell you. Will it tell you if I... Okay. Yeah, it doesn't even really mention anything that could be used against him. It just says the Black Order might show up and screw you even harder than Thanos is. Alright, guys. That's it for me. I will probably be doing a video on Saviors of the Multiverse soon. I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about, but a lot of people have been asking, you know, when is it going to be released? What's going on with it right now? And there's been some requests to do a video kind of updating people on the timeline of it. So I think I will hopefully get around to that sometime this weekend. See you later, everybody.